Ohio State bringing in another tremendous haul here in 2021, maybe historically. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game we love each and every day. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. That's our mission. And it's, of course, National Signing Day. We got Bill Kurelic on the line from Bucknuts 247 Sports to talk Ohio State recruiting. Bill, we appreciate you joining us.
My pleasure, Mark. Great day, and glad to join you here.
Absolutely. So a trend that goes all the way back to even Jim Tressel, but certainly Urban Meyer, is that there wouldn't be much drama on National Signing Day like we see around the country with the number of commits. Typically, Ohio State has it all buttoned up. Do we have anybody on the fence, anybody that's leaning one way or the other that would make this an even better class?
Well, Mark, nobody for today. They have 21 signees, and that's exactly what was planned. And I think they had all 21 signed by about 10:30 this morning. So, it went out without a hitch. Mark Pantoni, the director of player personnel, he's as good as it gets when it comes to the whole process of recruiting. And Ryan Day, of course, does a tremendous job. So they had their 21 commitments, and they like to get them in the fold as quickly as possible. It doesn't always work out that way. It was into the afternoon, I believe, a year ago, before everyone was in the fold. But they even got the West Coast guys taken care of. Emeka Egbuka, five-star wide receiver from the state of Washington, and Denzel Ward, a defensive back from Arizona. They were among the last three into the class. The other, interestingly enough, was one not too far from home. Ironton, Ohio linebacker Reed Carrico was the other. So those were the last three, and they all got in, and 21 signees. And, there's a little bit of drama, I guess, left, but that'll head into February, because the drama really concerns guys that are not going to sign today.
Bill, did I hear that middle name correctly that you listed there? Denzel Ward?
Yeah, Denzel Burke. I'm a Browns fan.
Okay.
Browns, and I saw where Denzel Ward is practicing today for the Browns in hopes that he can go against the Giants, and had that on my mind. But Denzel Burke is the cornerback, defensive back from Arizona that signed with the Buckeyes today.
Excellent. I was going to say the irony of ironies right there, if it would have been the same name, of course, of the great Ohio State defensive back that, missed the Ravens game the other night, but should be back this Sunday. Got Bill Kurelic on the line, 247 Sports Bucknuts. It's a standard in the industry, so please check out his work right there. This, unlike any other recruiting year in history, of course, because of the pandemic, Ohio State obviously met the challenge and exceeded the challenge. So on one hand, there are all the obstacles of trying to build relationships and have that contact. You can't bring people on campus. But at the same time, I would think that the name Ohio State, the brand, the reputation worked maybe in its favor for those people that certainly couldn't take those visits.
Yeah, I think a lot of that credit goes to Mark Pantoni and his staff. When it comes to technology and using everything at their means, there's nobody better. They are very creative. What they do with their Zoom calls, their virtual tours that they had to really, there's no official visits this year. I've been doing this for 34 years now. And that's never happened, where kids aren't allowed to make an official visit. They couldn't do that this year. So the official visits, for all intent and purposes, were virtual. And Ohio State did a super job technology-wise and creativity-wise of getting those done. I had prospects, some that signed with Ohio State and some that actually didn't end up signing with Ohio State, tell me that nobody did a virtual Zoom tour better than Ohio State. And that really says a lot about the technology, the creativity, and all that Mark Pantoni and his staff did.
Yeah, and it goes beyond coaching football and being that's your profession, but being able to adapt to whatever the needs of the situation are that go way beyond your area of expertise. So that's pretty phenomenal. 5 stars, 13 4 stars. That we could be here for hours analyzing and going through scouting reports. So I'll set it up this way, Bill. Who are some of those folks that, whether they be at the top of the board or near the bottom of the board, just based on what you've seen on tape and some of the scouting reports that you've read, really intrigue you?
And also, I had a chance to see a lot of these kids in person. Obviously, not all of them, because Ohio State, recruits everywhere, and you can't get out to every state. Well, you can't get out to Australia. Australia even. Jesse Mirko, the punter from Australia, the Buckeyes signed. He actually had signed before today because he was allowed to. He was the first signee in the class, but he is coming to Ohio State from Australia. The Ohio State goes everywhere. So, I got a chance to see a lot of these kids in person. If not, I saw them on tape. And some of the guys that stand out, obviously, Jack Sawyer, who I saw many times in person. He's from right down the road from where I live, North High School. Tremendous athlete. He is such a good athlete, Mark, that he could have gone at least to the MAC level schools in basketball, as well as his football talent. He's tremendous, 6'5", 250 pounds, and he's going to be an impact guy. He could be the next Chase Young, the next Joey or Nick Bosa. He's got that type of talent. So you've got to start there. But Travion Henderson from Virginia, a 5-star running back that they're really counting on big things from him. Tony Alford, the running backs coach, grand slam. And, he's restocked the running back room with a 5-star running back and a high 4-star running back. It's not easy to land 2 super running backs in the same class. Sometimes they don't like to play together. Maybe if you watch the Browns, you can see how it can work with using their 2 running backs, Nick Chubb and, of course, Kareem Hunt. And maybe it'll be the same way at Ohio State down the road. But, getting 2 running backs is not an easy job. So Kyle McCord, a great quarterback, 5-star quarterback, that, the beat goes on for Ohio State quarterbacks. Ryan Day, they want to play great quarterbacks in his offense. But, you go a little bit towards, I guess you'd say, the lower end of the spectrum when you look at the star rankings. And a couple guys that I think really kind of are interesting is Jalen Johnson, a safety from Cincinnati LaSalle. I saw him play several times in person, and I think he's got a chance to be a very good one for Ohio State. And then the other one is Zen Michalski. Great story there. He's an offensive lineman out of Indiana, and he wasn't even being really recruited much a year ago at this time. He was a kid that was about 6'4", 185 pounds, and that's not exactly Ohio State offensive tackle material. Had a growth spurt and ate well and did the right things. Got up to 6'6" and 288 pounds by the start of his senior year. Ohio State flipped him from his Louisville equipment. I think he's got a chance to be a fine offensive tackle for the Buckeyes.
Bill Kurelik on the line with us here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We would ask that you like the video, share it out there on social media. There's folks out there that have no idea that we're talking college football here every day. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live, which is every day. Bill, when you compare the work of Urban Meyer versus Ryan Day from an effectiveness standpoint, it's top notch. What are the nuances that have changed in Ryan Day's tenure?
Well, result-wise, as you referred to, Mark, not much different in the results. They're both spectacular. Urban Meyer was known as the best closer by many in college football. Just a super recruiter. Ryan Day comes in and they don't miss a beat. In fact, there'd be some say that he's probably doing even better than Urban if that could happen. But either way, the results are tremendous. Philosophy-wise, though, a little bit different. Urban Meyer, a very intense coach. His method was competition, intensity, and that type of thing. Ryan Day, when he took over the High State program, he made sure everyone knew this was his program now. And that's what it is. It is Ryan Day's program at Ohio State. And he wanted a very family-oriented atmosphere at Ohio State. So he kind of changed the atmosphere a little bit from maybe intensity to a family atmosphere, and that's gone over really, really well with recruits. And the other thing is, Ryan Day is Ryan Day. You've got to be yourself. You can't be an Urban Meyer, or if you're a great basketball coach, you can't be a Coach K. You've got to be yourself, and that's exactly what Ryan Day has done, and it's sold very well with recruits.
Bill, of course, Ohio State's a great high school football playing state. but because of the population shift, not quite as highly ranked as it was 20 or 25 years ago. Obviously, Urban Meyer was able to navigate that, maintain that relationship with Ohio high school coaches and bring in enough Ohio talent, but have that broad view nationally. And Ryan Day as well. Does that continue to be kind of on the radar of the recruiting efforts, trying to make that strike that balance?
Yeah, and Mark, one of the things that Ryan Day did that was really, really smart was the first thing he did when he hit the road recruiting as Ohio State's head coach is he hit the state of Ohio. He went to all the big schools in the state of Ohio, from the Cincinnati area up to the Youngstown area, Cleveland area, Columbus, all of them. He hit the big areas, the big schools, the football schools in Ohio, and made sure that he got out to those schools. Not even some of them didn't even have Ohio State caliber prospects, and he was at those schools at that time. Certainly working ahead, so to speak. So, he got the ball rolling in the right direction right away. He said, "I'm going to prioritize Ohio," and he showed it and did just that. He's got 6 Ohio signees in this class out of the 21, and I think looking back, if I remember correctly, Urban Meyer had about 10 or 11 signees from Ohio in his first class. So, Ryan Day has done a great job in Ohio, but he also knows that, to beat the Alabamas of the world, you're not going to beat those schools with a class every year of 15 Ohioans, say, because as you mentioned, Mark, the talent is outstanding in Ohio, but it's not like it used to be. There's the population shift. There are so many great players in Florida, so many great players in Georgia, California. High State really does need to go everywhere, and that's exactly what they are doing.
Bill, you mentioned a few people out there that have yet to make decisions that we'll know about more once we hit the first Wednesday of February. Who are those guys in question?
Well, the big one, and this is always the toughest one for people to pronounce his name, but I'm pretty confident that I will get this exactly right. I've said it enough times. JT Tui Moloau. From the state of Washington, once again. He is a tremendous prospect. In fact, he's the #1 prospect in the 247 sports player rankings for the entire country. So he is the #1 guy. And JT is a defensive end, defensive tackle who has offers from everybody. I think his decision will likely come down to Ohio State, possibly Alabama. He's got other schools on that list too. Michigan. Ohio State fans don't want to hear that, but they're on his list. And a few others. He's got 7 schools. Oregon is another one on that list. But in the end, I tend to think perhaps his decision comes down to Ohio State or Alabama. So he's the main one. They are also still in contact with Rajon Davis. He's a linebacker out of California, Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana, California. He's committed to LSU. He did not sign with LSU today, and he won't sign with them today. He's going to wait until February to sign, and he's a guy that is on Ohio State's radar screen. The other one, perhaps a little bit on the radar screen, is Tristan, an offensive lineman, but I think he is probably going elsewhere. So I think we're mainly looking, unless someone pops up, and it's possible that someone could pop up in the next month and a half, but unless someone pops up on the radar screen, I think we're looking at JT Tui Moloau as the main guy, and then possibly Rajon Davis.
It's by far the best class in the Big Ten. It's #2 nationally right now, according to the 247 Sports Rankings. Bill Kurelik from Bucknuts joining us to break down the Buckeyes class for 2021. Bill, we so much appreciate you stopping by and analyzing the 2021 class.
My pleasure, Mark. I'm really honored that you had me today, and good luck with the podcast here.